Yeah, we see four things happening in the military market primarily, and in the U.S. it's response to the DoD budgets these days. The first one is that almost all the OEMs are looking at increasing their international business, and many of them over the last several years have done a good job of making that happen. Now that brings in kind of two different things in terms of the international business. It's their ability to sell products into certain countries, as there are ITAR restrictions to some of the products that they're trying to service, and then their ability to actually go and capture that market as it appears out in the other markets. So the second thing we see is really growth in Asia and the Middle East. The defense markets there are growing. There's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of things happening in those markets today, as we read in the papers, that's creating a lot of demand for products in those markets. The third thing is unmanned aerial systems, and frankly unmanned systems of all types. It's a whole new trend that is affecting defense. It's also affecting some elements of commercial, but primarily in the defense market. And we're seeing a response to that coming from a various number of competitors, from the large OEMs with the larger high altitude offerings to the middle altitude offerings, and then of course a wide range of smaller deployed aircraft. And the final one is really what we're seeing is in a shift towards digital. And digital I'll take into two different subsets. One is in the cybersecurity and cyber defense, active defense, and the things we hear about with hacking and getting access to information and protecting those information assets, not just within aerospace and defense, but potentially also within other industries like financial services, retail, and those industries. And the other side of it is software, and the really growing role that software plays in platforms these days. So one of the examples I use with this is the B-52, an aircraft that started service in the 50s that is still flying today as a viable platform, really primarily because of the upgrades that it's had in its avionics and information systems that allow it to become an effective platform today. The other side of the coin is the JSF. With the Joint Strike Fighter, it is really reliant upon information technology, software, through the aircraft and the helmet itself to be able to really be mission capable when it's deployed out to its full readiness. The challenge of going international with these businesses is that, first of all, there's a tremendous amount of competition. And in some of these markets, there's some in-market competitors that are trying to make their own mark, if you will, and bring that with their own products. So it depends on where we are in the defense spectrum of products. For U.S. manufacturers, there's the international traffic arms restrictions, so you have ITAR problems you have to go deal with, export control. Some of the markets that are in high demand are very competitive, and when those competitions come up, depends on how they want to sell into that market, whether it goes through, in the U.S. case, the government side, or if they're going to go direct. So I think the biggest pitfalls when they're entering these markets is to really understand local market, understand the challenges sometimes working in certain countries with respect to business practices, and making sure that they're able to compete and compete cleanly, to win those programs. Yeah, what we see is, especially at the Tier 1, Tier 2 level, is companies trying to make transitions and maybe more heavily influence their portfolios to the commercial sector. I mean, as you can see behind me, there's a tremendous number of commercial aircraft, and this is Farnborough, and commercial is a very big topic of the show always, and this year is no exception. But you also see larger companies that have a commercial side to them. So in fact, if you look at what Boeing is doing and where they're deploying some of their investments between the commercial and defense side, and then you look at some defense companies that have offerings in, say, the cybersecurity area, who are looking at other non-aerospace and defense, non-government outlets for their products. So in cybersecurity, there are companies that are selling cyber products and services to retail and financial services, to name two industries. Healthcare is another one.